Do you take Mr. Reeslew to be your husband, for richer or for poorer? Listening to the pastor's familiar inquiry, I gazed at the man before me who once made my heart flutter endlessly. 3 years ago today, I was also wearing a pure white wedding dress, standing in this same magnificent church. Back then, I was filled with joy, believing I was finally marrying the one I loved. Until the wedding was halfway through, the groom suddenly pushed open the church doors and loudly announced, "I'm sorry, everyone, but I cannot marry Stella Lynn. The one I love is Sky Lynn." The girl he was tightly holding on to was none other than the true heiress who had just been found by the Lynn family. In that moment, I, who had been switched at birth, completely understood my situation. I am just a substitute bride, a substitute daughter, a substitute for everything. For the next 3 years, I watched as Reeslew and Sky Lynn were inseparable, while I was forced to stay in the Lew family, enduring everyone's disdain and ridicule, until the day Sky Lynn died in a car accident. Reeslew actually demanded that I donate my liver to save her. "Stella, Sky is dying. You two have the same blood type. Please, you have to save her." I still remember how he knelt in the hospital corridor, but I never imagined that saving her would cost me my own life. When I woke up, I had actually been reborn, back to my wedding day 3 years ago. This time, I won't be foolish anymore. The pastor is still waiting for my answer. I looked at the undisguised pain and struggle in Reeslew's eyes. He must be thinking about Sky Lynn, thinking of the real daughter who just returned to the Lynn family. I slowly took off the crown on my head and threw the bouquet in my hand to the ground. "I do not." The audience instantly erupted in an uproar. Reeslew looked at me in shock. "Stella, what are you talking about?" I smiled faintly, then took off my wedding ring and placed it in his palm. I said, "I, Stella Lynn, do not wish to marry you, Reeslew. This wedding ends here." After saying that, I lifted the hem of my dress and walked out of the church under the stunned gazes of everyone. From behind came Reeslew's furious roar, "Stella Lynn, you come back here." But I didn't even turn my head. In this life, I will never be anyone's substitute again. Chapter 2. Returning to the Lynn family home, Mom and Dad were sitting in the living room waiting for me, seeing me in such a disheveled state. Mom immediately stood up. "Stella, why are you back? Isn't the wedding over yet?" I looked at them deeply. In my previous life, when Reeslew looked down on me and Sky Lynn targeted me at every turn, they chose to side with the true heiress. "Mom, I have something to tell you." I sat down on the sofa, my tone eerily calm. "Sky Lynn is back, right?" Mom and Dad exchanged a glance, their expressions somewhat unnatural. "Stella, Sky is our biological daughter. It's a good thing that she's back." "I know." I interrupted my mother. "And I also know that I'm not your biological daughter." These words struck like a bolt from the blue, leaving the two of them momentarily stunned. Mom panicked and explained, "Stella, don't overthink it. We never." "Enough." I stood up, walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, and looked at the distant night view. "I've already seen the DNA test report. Sky Lynn is your biological daughter, while I am just the one who was mistakenly taken. So all these years, you made me marry Reeslew just to clear the way for the real heiress, right? To make this imposter discreetly disappear, so the true Lynn family heiress can return to her rightful place." The living room fell into a dead silence. After a long time, Dad finally spoke with difficulty. "Stella, it's not what you think, isn't it?" I turned around, my eyes devoid of tears, only filled with bone-chilling coldness. "Then tell me, why are you so eager to marry me off as soon as Sky Lynn returns? Why do you insist on me marrying Reeslew even though you know he has someone else in his heart? Why have you never asked me if I'm willing?" Each question felt like a knife, stabbing deep into their hearts. Mom finally couldn't hold back her tears. "Stella, we had no choice. Sky all right, no need to explain." I waved my hand wearily. "I understand your choice. After all, blood ties are a fact. But from today onward, I have my own choices too. I will not marry Reeslew anymore. Nor will I cooperate with any of your arrangements. As for Sky Lynn, let her fight for everything she wants on her own." After saying that, I went straight upstairs to my room. Behind me came the sound of my mother's crying and my father's sigh, but my heart was as calm as still water. In this life, I will live for myself. Chapter 3. 3 days later, the Lynn family held a grand banquet. It was nominally to celebrate the return of their long-lost daughter, but in reality, it was to formally introduce Sky Lynn, the true heiress, to the entire high society circle. I appeared at the banquet wearing a black evening gown, in stark contrast to Sky Lin's innocent image in her white gauze dress. Stella, seeing me, Sky Lin immediately trotted over and linked her arm with mine. You finally showed up. I thought you weren't willing to attend. Her voice was soft and sweet, with an innocent, harmless smile on her face, just like in the previous life. She perfectly embodied what it means to be a beloved, pure-hearted little flower. As I looked at her, I remembered how, in the previous life, she had gradually taken away everything that originally belonged to me. First, it was my parents' affection, then Rieslu's heart, and in the end, she even wanted my life. Of course I'll attend. After all, this is your territory. I smiled meaningfully. Sky Lin froze for a moment, seemingly catching the implication in my words, but she quickly adjusted her expression. Stella, don't say that. This will always be your home. We are sisters and should always be together. Is that so? I looked toward Rieslu, who was walking over from not far away. What about Rieslu? Are you going to share him with me too? Sky Lin's expression instantly stiffened. Rieslu walked up to us, looking at me with a complicated gaze. Stella, we need to talk. There's nothing to talk about. I picked up a glass of champagne and took a graceful sip. Mr. Lu, haven't you always disliked me? Now that Sky Lin is back, you two can be together openly. Isn't that great? Rieslu's face turned very unpleasant. You know that's not what I meant. Then what do you mean? I put down my wine glass and looked directly into his eyes. Do you want me to continue being your shield? Or do you want me to tactfully disappear? Sky Lin was so anxious she was almost in tears. Stella, you've misunderstood. There's nothing between Ries and me, nothing. I let out a cold laugh and pulled out my phone from my bag. Then what is this video? On the phone screen, there was a clear image from 3 days ago of Sky Lin throwing herself into Rieslu's arms, with him embracing her affectionately. Both of their faces instantly turned pale. You took a photo of us without our permission. Rieslu looked at me in disbelief. I shrugged. It's not really spying. I just happened to be passing by, but now it seems you two are indeed a perfect match. So my decision is right. I'm definitely calling off this engagement. With that, I put away my phone and turned to leave under everyone's stunned gazes. Behind me came the sound of Sky Lin's crying and Rieslu's furious roar, but I would never look back again. Chapter 4, the next morning. The elders of the Lu and Lin families all gathered in the Lin family's living room. As I came downstairs, I happened to hear Mr. Lu angrily confronting my parents. Is this the fine daughter you raised? Running away from the wedding is one thing, but now she wants to call off the engagement. Uncle Lu, please calm down. I slowly walked downstairs and sat on the sofa under everyone's gaze. I think what you should be asking is why your son was hugging another woman before the wedding, Mr. Lu's face turned even more unpleasant. What do you mean? I took out my phone and played the video from yesterday for them to see. Seeing Rieslu tightly embracing Sky Lin, Father Lu's face instantly turned pale. Ries, how do you explain this? Rieslu stood aside, his face pale but still stubborn. I haven't done anything wrong. The person I love has always been Sky. You forced me to marry Stella Lin. As soon as these words were spoken, the atmosphere in the living room instantly dropped to freezing point. I looked at all the elders present and said calmly, now everyone has heard it. Rieslu never wanted to marry me from the very beginning. In that case, is there still any need for this marriage to continue? Sky Lin stood up with tears in her eyes. It's all my fault. If I hadn't come back, Stella wouldn't have been hurt. I should just leave and not ruin everyone's relationships, she said and was about to walk out. This tactic of advancing by retreating was truly masterfully executed. Sure enough, Mrs. Lu immediately grabbed her. Sky, don't go, this isn't your fault. Then she turned her head and glared at me fiercely. Stella Lin, look at what you've done. You've scared Sky, such a kind-hearted child, to tears. I couldn't help but laugh. Aunt Lu, what you're saying is quite amusing. It was clearly your son who fell in love with someone else. So how did it become my fault? And what is Sky Lin crying about? She got the one she loves. She should be happy, right? Mrs. Lu was left speechless by my words. At that moment, my father finally spoke up. Stella, calm down. Let's all sit down and have a proper discussion. Discuss what? I stood up, looking down at everyone present. Are we discussing how I should continue being a stand-in, or how to make way for the real heiress? Dad, Mom, I'm asking you one last time. Will you choose me, or will you choose Sky Lin? The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. After a long while, Mom finally spoke in a trembling voice. Stella, after all, Sky is our biological daughter. I nodded, my heart completely chilled. I understand. In that case, I have nothing more to say. I picked up my bag and walked towards the door. I won't be coming back to this home either. Also, I will transfer all my shares in the Lin Group. You all take care of yourselves. A chorus of gasps erupted behind me, but I didn't look back. Chapter 5. A month later, the entire high society was buzzing about the scandals involving the Lin and Lu families. First, the marriage alliance fell apart, then Stella Lin left, and the most devastating blow was the broken capital chain of the Lin Group. I sat in the coffee shop, watching the news about Reese Lu's haggard appearance, feeling an indescribable sense of satisfaction. In my previous life, when they hurt me, they never considered that I could feel pain too, in this life. Let them also taste the bitterness of loss. Stella, a familiar voice sounded, and I looked up to see Sky Lin. She looked much more haggard, with red-rimmed eyes that made her appear pitiful. May I sit down? She asked cautiously. I made a gesture inviting her to sit. Sky Lin sat down and remained silent for a long time before speaking. Stella, I know you hate me, but the company really can't hold on much longer. Mom and Dad are so worried they can't sleep every day. Could you? No. I refused without hesitation. Sky Lin, you need to understand one fact. I am no longer a member of the Lin family. The fate of the Lin Group has nothing to do with me. A flicker of anger flashed in Sky Lin's eyes, but it was quickly suppressed. But you've lived with the Lin family for 20 years. Don't you have any feelings at all? Feelings? I let out a light laugh. When you chose to have me step aside for you, there were no feelings left, and besides, I remember Reese Lu's family is very wealthy. You could ask him for help. Mentioning Reese Lu, Sky Lin's expression turned even more unpleasant. Reese, he's very busy right now, and the Lu family has recently encountered some difficulties. I feigned surprise. Is that so? What a coincidence. Of course it's a coincidence, because I arranged all of this. The connections and business knowledge I accumulated in my previous life have all come in handy in this one. I'm going to make every single one of them pay. Sky Lin, seeing that I remained unmoved, finally couldn't help but reveal her true colors. Stella Lin, why are you being so heartless? We grew up together. How can you just stand by and watch the Lin family go bankrupt? And Reese, he loves you so much. Why are you taking revenge on him like this? I watched her furious and flustered expression, feeling a surge of satisfaction in my heart. Sky Lin, you said Reese Lu loves me. Then why did he publicly declare his love for you at our wedding? Then why, when I was lying in the hospital, was he still thinking of you? Are you telling me this is love? Sky Lin was left speechless by my question. I stood up, looking down at her from above. Put away your fake kindness. Your acting isn't convincing enough in front of me. Do you want to save the Lin family? Go find your beloved Reese Lu. Do you want me to change my mind? Not a chance. After saying that, I turned and left the coffee shop, leaving Sky Lin sitting there alone, her face alternating between pale and flushed. Chapter 6. 2 days later, a recording went viral among the wealthy elite. In the recording, Sky Lin tearfully complained to Reese Lu, Reese, Stella is just too much. Even though I'm their biological daughter, Mom and Dad don't even care about me anymore. It's all my fault for coming back at the wrong time. If only I had kept wandering outside. Reese Lu's voice gently comforted her. Don't cry, Sky, it's all my fault. I failed to protect you. Stella Lin is just jealous of you, throwing her weight around just because she has some money. But don't worry, I won't let her continue to bully you. Once we're married, let's see if she still dares to act so arrogantly. The recording ends here. I sat in the apartment, watching the overwhelming discussions online, sipping red wine with a pleased mood. Of course, I recorded this audio. In my previous life, they spoke ill of me behind my back just like this. In this life, I simply let more people hear it. Soon, my phone rang. It was Sky Lin calling. Stella Lin, it's you, isn't it? You're the one who recorded it. Her voice was frantic and exasperated, no longer carrying the previous fragility. I replied unhurriedly, evidence. What evidence do you have to prove it was me who recorded it? You are simply too despicable. Despicable. I let out a cold laugh. Compared to you talking behind my back, what I did is nothing. At least I didn't fabricate anything. Every word in the recording was spoken by you yourselves. Sky Lin started crying on the phone. Stella, I'm begging you, please just let us go. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have taken Reese away. Do you know you're wrong now? I interrupted her. When you killed me in my previous life, why didn't you think that I would suffer too? What previous life? What are you talking about? Skylin was clearly confused by my words. I realized I had misspoken and immediately changed the subject. Nothing. I just wanted to tell you that this is only the beginning. Want me to stop? Unless you kneel down and apologize to me. After saying that, I hung up the phone. The phone rang again soon after. This time it was Reese Lou, Stella Lynn. What exactly are you trying to do? His voice was filled with anger and frustration. I leaned back on the sofa and said leisurely, I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted you to taste the feeling of being abandoned by the whole world. You're crazy. If you have a grudge against me, come at me. Why involve innocent people? Innocent. I laughed out loud. Reese Lou, in your heart, am I not innocent? Since I was a child, I always thought you would marry me. How many suitors have I turned down for you? And what happened? You humiliated me in front of everyone at our wedding. Now you tell me, am I not innocent? Reese Lou remained silent for a long time before whispering, I'm sorry, I know I hurt you, but, no buts, I interrupted him sharply. Reese Lou, in this world, there are no IFS. Only consequences and costs. You chose to hurt me, so you must bear the corresponding price. This is what you owe me. Chapter 7, After the Recording Incident. The entire high society circle's direction completely changed. Those who originally sympathized with Sky Lynn began to accuse her of stealing someone else's fiancé. Those who originally criticized me for being willful began to understand my anger and retaliation. The power of public opinion is terrifying. Sky Lynn no longer dares to go out, and Reese Lou has also become the target of public criticism. Yet, at this very moment, I accepted an exclusive interview with a financial magazine, MS, Lynn. How do you respond to the voices from the outside saying that you are acting out of willful revenge? The reporter sat across from me, carefully recording every expression I made. I gracefully smoothed my skirt and replied with a smile, I'd like to ask, if your fiancé publicly declared his love for someone else at your wedding, what would you do? The reporter was taken aback, clearly not expecting me to turn the question around. I suppose no woman would tolerate such humiliation. I nodded, so. This isn't revenge, it's self-protection. I'm just using my own way to tell those who have hurt me that I'm not someone to be messed with. Miss Lynn, what about Miss Sky Lynn? After all, she is not anyone to me. My tone turned serious. The DNA test shows that I have no blood relation to the Lynn family, so legally speaking, Sky Lynn is the daughter of the Lynn family, and I am not. Since that's the case, why should I sacrifice my own feelings for the happiness of a stranger? These words caused an immediate uproar once they were made public. The news that Stella Lynn wasn't the biological daughter of the Lynn family had already spread far and wide. Only then did people understand why the Lynn family was in such a hurry to marry her off. Why did she have to counterattack so decisively? That night, I received a phone call from my mom. Stella, why did you reveal the truth about your background? Her voice was choked up, as if she had been crying for a long time. Why can't I say it? I retorted. This is the truth, after all. Should I live a lie for the rest of my life? But then everyone will know you're not our biological child. And then, I said coldly, so you can openly favor Sky Lynn without any pretense. Stella, you've misunderstood. We never. Enough, Mom. I wearily interrupted her explanation. At this point, are you still trying to deceive yourself? If you truly considered me your daughter, you wouldn't have forced me to marry someone I didn't love back then. If you truly loved me, you wouldn't have hesitated to choose her over me and Sky Lynn. Now you're pretending to care about me. Don't you think it's too late? After saying that, I hung up the phone, looking at the night scenery outside the window. My heart was unusually calm. Some paths, once taken wrong, can never be retraced. Some people, once lost, can never be found again. They chose to abandon me, then now. Let them endure the pain of being abandoned. Chapter 8. 3 days after the interview was published, the Lynn family officially declared bankruptcy. The Lou Group also saw its stock price plummet due to a broken capital chain. I sat in the law firm, signing the final document. Miss Lynn, as per your request, all assets have been transferred to your overseas company under your name. The lawyer adjusted his glasses and spoke respectfully. In addition, We have completed the acquisition procedures for the companies you requested to purchase. I nodded and put away the documents. Very well. You've worked hard. As I stepped out of the law firm, I received an unexpected phone call. It was from Sky Lynn. Stella, please meet me. Just once, okay? Her voice was choked with tears, sounding utterly exhausted. I thought about it and agreed. An hour later, I met Sky Lynn at an upscale restaurant. She had lost a lot of weight, her mental state was poor, and she had completely lost her previous glamorous appearance. Stella, upon seeing me, her eyes immediately welled up with tears. I sat down across from her and elegantly ordered a cup of coffee. Speak, what did you want to see me about? Sky Lynn took a deep breath. I want to ask you, what will it take for you to let us go? Let you go? I let out a light laugh. Sky Lynn, you've misunderstood one thing. I never actively harmed any of you. I was only protecting myself. It was you who hurt me first, and now you're turning around and saying I won't let you go. Sky Lynn bit her lip, tears finally falling. I know it's my fault. I shouldn't have taken Reese, but Mom and Dad are innocent. Could you please help them for the sake of their upbringing? Upbringing. My tone turned icy. They raised me to be a stepping stone for you. The true heiress. I have already repaid this debt of gratitude over 20 years. Now we are even. Sky Lynn looked at me in despair. Stella, have you really run out of all feelings? We grew up together since childhood. Could all these years of sisterly affection be fake? I quietly watched her crying, feeling not a single ripple in my heart. In my previous life, she also cried like this, begging for my forgiveness, then turned around and poisoned me. Sky Lynn, stop pretending. I stood up, looking down at her. If my memory serves me right, your attitude was completely different last time at the coffee shop. Now that you're losing, you suddenly remember our sisterhood. It's a pity it's too late. After saying that, I turned around and left the restaurant. Behind me came the hysterical cries of Sky Lynn. But I will never look back again. Some people, some things, once missed, are gone forever. Chapter 9. A month later, Reese finally appeared before me. He looked even more haggard than before, with bloodshot eyes that seemed to indicate he hadn't rested well in a long time. Stella, let's talk. He stood downstairs of my apartment, his tone carrying a humility I had never heard before. I checked the time and nodded. Come on up. Reese followed me into the apartment, his gaze complex as he surveyed my new place. Living well, I see, he said with a bitter smile. I poured myself a glass of red wine but didn't offer him one. Not bad. Much better than when I was a stand-in. Reese face grew even more unpleasant. Stella, I know you hate me, but could you? No, I refused without hesitation. Reese, I advise you not to waste your time. No matter what you say, I won't back down. He remained silent for a long time, then suddenly knelt down. Stella, I'm begging you, please let Sky go. She's already pitiful enough, having lost both parents, and after finally finding her relatives, now she's about to lose everything again. Watching him kneel on the ground, a sense of satisfaction surged within me. In my previous life, I knelt just like this, begging him not to make me donate my liver, but he refused without hesitation. Now, it's his turn to experience this despair. Reese, do you think I would soften just because you kneel before me? I looked down at him from above. In my previous life, I knelt and begged you just like this. What did you say to me back then? Previous life, what strange things are you saying again? Nothing. I waved my hand. I just want to tell you, begging me is useless. You brought this upon yourselves. Reese looked at me in despair. Stella, you've really changed. I don't even recognize you anymore. I've changed. I couldn't help but laugh. Have I changed, or have you never truly understood me? Reese, in your heart, I should always be that obedient, well-behaved Stella Lynn who lets you manipulate me. Right, but have you ever considered that I also have a temper, can get angry, and can seek revenge? You hurt me so badly, and you still expect me to be grateful to you. Dream on. Reese fell completely silent. After a long time, he finally spoke with difficulty. If I marry you, could you let Sky go? This sentence made me freeze for a moment, then I burst into laughter. Reese, do you think I'm a garbage dump? Now you know to come looking for me. It's too late. What I've always wanted is not a man who doesn't love me, but justice. What you owe me, I'll demand back tenfold, 100-fold. After saying that, I pointed at the door. Now, please get out of my home. Reese slowly stood up, giving me a deep look. Stella, I hope you won't regret today's decision. Regret, I sneered coldly. The biggest regret of my life is that I once loved you, but now, I won't make the same mistake again. Chapter 10. The day after Rieslu left, I received an unexpected piece of news. Sky Lin attempted suicide and was promptly discovered and taken to the hospital. I sat in the office, reading the news report handed to me by my assistant, feeling completely unmoved. Miss Lin, should I go to the hospital to check on the situation? The assistant asked cautiously. I shook my head. No need. I have no interest in other people's life and death. Proceed as planned. Acquire what needs to be acquired. Sue what needs to be sued. The assistant nodded and stepped back. But that night, I still went to the hospital, not out of concern, but out of curiosity. I wanted to see what tricks Sky Lin was going to pull this time. In the hospital room, Sky Lin lay quietly on the bed, her face as pale as paper. Rieslu sat by the bed, watching over her. When he saw me enter, his eyes immediately blazed with anger. What are you doing here? Haven't you already hurt her enough? Ignoring his anger, I walked to the bedside and looked at Sky Lin, pretending to sleep. Sky Lin's eyelids fluttered slightly. I let out a cold laugh. If you're awake, stop pretending. I know you're fine. The direction of the wrist cutting is wrong, and the depth isn't enough either. It's clearly done for others to see. Sky Lin slowly opened her eyes, looking at me with resentment. Stella Lin, why are you so heartless? I'm already like this, and you still won't let me go. I sat down on the chair and crossed my legs. Sky Lin, stop using these little tricks. Someone who truly wants to die wouldn't choose a method that won't kill them. You're only doing this to gain sympathy and make me look like the villain. Unfortunately, I'm not buying it. Rieslu stood up angrily. Stella Lin, you've gone too far. Sky almost what? Almost succeeded in deceiving everyone. I interrupted him. Rieslu, do you really know Sky Lin? Do you know what she has done to get you? As I spoke, I took out my phone and played a recording. In the recording, Sky Lin is on a call with a man. Cousin, do me a favor. I want to completely ruin Stella Lin. What? Kill her? No, I don't want her life. I want her to wish she were dead. Doesn't she love Rieslu so much? Then I'll make her watch as Rieslu falls in love with me. The recording finished playing, and the ward fell into a deathly silence. Rieslu looked at Sky Lin in disbelief. Sky, what is going on? Sky Lin's face turned deathly pale. She wanted to explain but couldn't find the words. I put away my phone and stood up. Rieslu, do you still think she's innocent? She's been scheming against all of us from the very beginning, including you. With that, I turned and left the hospital room. Behind me came Rieslu's questioning voice and Sky Lin's sobs. But none of it had anything to do with me anymore. The truth had been revealed, and now it was time to close the net. Chapter 11. After the recording was exposed, the entire situation completely reversed. Those who had originally sympathized with Sky Lin began to condemn her scheming ways, while those who had criticized me started to understand my choices. Sky Lin became a complete public enemy, despised by everyone. Rieslu also became a laughingstock after being used by others. I sat in the office, looking at the cityscape outside the window, feeling more relaxed than ever before. Finally, all those who had hurt me received the retribution they deserved. The assistant walked in and respectfully reported, Ms. Lin, the bankruptcy proceedings for Lin Corporation have been completed, and we have successfully acquired Lu Corporation as well. In addition, Mr. Rieslu and Ms. Sky Lin have left the city, reportedly going abroad. I nodded. Good, let them go, anyway. This city no longer has a place for them. The assistant continued to report. Also, Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin want to see you. They've been waiting downstairs for 3 hours. I remained silent for a moment, and finally said, let them come up. 10 minutes later, Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin appeared in my office. They had aged a lot, their hair had turned white, and they looked haggard. Stella, Mom Lin burst into tears the moment she saw me. I didn't stand up to greet her, remaining seated behind my desk. What's the matter? Dad Lin stepped forward. Stella, we came to apologize to you. It's our fault. We were too biased. Can you forgive us and come home? I looked at their humble demeanor, feeling not a single ripple in my heart. Go home? Which home? The Lin family has gone bankrupt. You don't even have a home yourselves. Mrs. Lin cried even harder. Stella, we know we were wrong. We truly know we were wrong. Please, for the sake of the 20 years we raised you, give us a chance, okay? I've already repaid the debt of your upbringing, I said coldly, and if I remember correctly, when you chose Sky Lin back then, you didn't think about these 20 years of affection. Now that you've lost everything, you remember me. It's too late. Dad. Lin suddenly knelt down. Stella, I'm begging you. Sky has gone crazy, saying all sorts of strange things all day, like past lives and next lives. She doesn't remember anything now, only that she hates you. Hearing this, I was startled. Does Sky Lin still remember things from her past life? But soon I let it go. What does it matter if I remember? She's already gone mad now, and no one would believe anything she says. That's her retribution. I stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. Sky Lin has harmed others and herself, and ending up in this situation today is entirely her own fault. As for all of you, it's the same. When you chose to abandon me back then, you should have anticipated there would be a day like this. Father Lin looked at me with despair. Stella, have you really run out of all feelings? I turned around and took one last look at them, just like how you treated me back then. Now, please leave my company. Security. Soon, the security guards came in and escorted the two out, watching their retreating figures. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. All of this was finally over. Chapter 12. 3 months later, I was sitting on a flight heading abroad. Everything had been arranged properly. The company was handed over to a professional manager to run, and I was preparing to develop a new career overseas. All the grievances, affections, and entanglements in this city came to a complete end with this departure. The moment the plane took off, I looked out the window at the city growing smaller and smaller, and a wave of complex emotions surged in my heart. 23 years of life, memories of 2 lifetimes. Finally, I can live for myself. My phone suddenly rang. It was an unfamiliar international number. Hello, is this Miss Stella Lin? The other party spoke fluent English. Yes, who is this? I am Blake, the CEO of the Williamson Group. I've long heard of your reputation. Our company has a project we'd like to collaborate with you on. I wonder if you might be interested. I smiled as I gazed at the blue sky and white clouds outside the window. Of course I'm interested. We can discuss it in detail. A new life, a new beginning. This time, I will live as my true self. Looking back on everything that happened, I no longer hold any resentment or regret. Lu, Sky Lin, and the Lin parents have all received the retribution they deserved, and I have finally found inner peace and freedom. The plane flew through the clouds. Heading into the distance, I closed my eyes, a relieved smile on my lips. Goodbye, the old me. Hello, new life.